It's a beautiful Sunday, August 23rd, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's number one casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, co-raps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, always a good time, and less than 2 weeks away, Ted.
Can't wait. It's getting close. Camp. I felt like camp was kind of short for me. I don't know why. Maybe just because a lot of stuff going on, but they're already out of camp. Going to be starting school. Coming quick, man.
You think camp felt short for those guys?
You know, time is interesting. It's all about perspective, right?
It's all about your paradigm.
No doubt.
But hey, it was the former player barbecue this weekend. We got to go watch practice with some of our former teammates, which is always fun. And before we dive into some of that, like, just really appreciate Brent Venables and the entire staff and everyone that puts that event on.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun for us to see guys that we played with, be able to talk about the team, catch up, talk to each other about what's going on in life, what's going on with their kids. It's a very pleasant weekend for the former players, and they've done a really, really good job with it.
Yeah. And I can imagine, just like everyone else, like, you got kids starting school, kids are starting sports. It's a busy time of the year. I'm just happy that so many guys continue to show up, right? I mean, it's a big crowd, and a lot of guys come up, a lot of guys drive in from all over the place to hang out for the day. So really cool, good thing that they're doing. The weather didn't help. It was kind of weird. All of a sudden it was supposed to be like 105, and then here come the storms and stuff, but they were still accommodating, and it's tough with that many people even going to the indoor. So that was cool.
Well, I know that my kids loved it being in the indoor because they just got to tackle each other in the end zone for 2 straight hours. It was great. And play with all the pads and everything and throw footballs around it. They could not have had more fun.
There was a good portion being able to go watch some one-on-ones, but I think your kids had like 2 straight hours of one-on-one drills going on, is what it looked like.
Basically what happened. It was great. They loved it. Absolutely loved it. And there was donuts, and they ate like 4 donuts each, which, they paid for it later, but that's life, man.
Yep. That was good stuff.
So let's get into what people are actually listening to this podcast for. And let's start with Venables finally addressing the Jake Maikkula injury. We had held off on talking about it until he addressed it publicly. And the quote from BV about Jake was, feel like his injury is a short-term injury. He's doing well. And then he added, they expect Jake to be back sooner rather than later. First of all, just a bummer for your starting center to suffer a knee injury in training camp. But that is, while vague a bit.
That's what I'm laughing at. So I don't know what to take from that at all.
It's the most Venables statement of all time, but it was a relief knowing that it wasn't a season-ending thing with how bad it looked in that scrimmage. So I mean, the guy was playing really, really good football. The ball he was playing in that scrimmage is the best football he's played of his career. I mean, the data that he was having before he went down, just kind of mauling dudes. I honestly didn't know Maikkula like had that dog in him, and it's good to know it's there. But this is a guy who's playing at a really high level. His confidence is at an all-time high. I think he's as comfortable as he's ever been being like a vocal leader and leading not only the line, but the offense. And it's really unfortunate. So now the question becomes, okay, what do they do until Jake Maikkula can get back?
Right.
And I think that's a complicated answer right now, Ted.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably still at this point a work in progress. Because they've got a couple of different options. You could go with Nita, who they brought in, as the backup. You've got Noah Best, who's playing those interior spots, played well. There's some options that you can move around. They're probably still tinkering with it. And some of that may depend on what sooner rather than later actually means. Is that like be back for week 2 or be back for week 6? I have no idea. That may factor into it as well. I'm not sure.
It feels like with what Venables said and kind of knowing how tough Jake Maikkula is, I think a lot of people forget he played through a bum ankle like a ton of last season.
Yeah.
Like the guy's got some stuff to him. And clearly he's ultra motivated. It's his last season. He wants to get out on the field. He wants to play in these big games. Like any guy that's wired the proper way is going to target that Michigan game to get back. But we'll see if he's ready. Right? If he's ready to go, if he can go, if he's your best option at center, then he's going to play. But it feels like there's two natural targets for Maikkula to get back. The first one's the Michigan game in week 2. And then if he's not quite ready for that, then you target that trip to Athens in week 4.
Yeah.
You don't need him against UTEP. You don't need him against New Mexico. So if he can be ready for Michigan, then you play. If not,
would that be 6 weeks total? So
yes, 6-ish weeks.
6-ish, yeah.
So, when you talk about when you think about common knee injuries that take place for offensive linemen, if you don't completely blow your stuff out, it's usually something, 4 to 8 weeks, right?
Yep.
Depending on the severity of what you did. So I think it's natural to assume that they're targeting the Michigan game for his return if he can do it. Now you got to be smart. You can't let him go out there and play compromised, and OU's medical staff would never do that. But it's just really interesting to see, okay, there's 2 natural targets for him to come back. What ends up happening, and then what's the plan in the meantime? And that's where the conversation gets really interesting to me, because you've got 2 weeks now, or a little less than 2 weeks, to find the best combination without Maikkula. And there's a lot of options. Like on Saturday, we watched Ryan Foje play a bunch of center.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Caleb needed, he's there to play center. He is kind of the break glass in case of emergency situation. And unfortunately, we've kind of found ourselves in that situation. Noah Best, I watched the kid play center all spring ball. I know he can do it. Now, I don't think I've seen him play center since. He's kind of lived at that right guard spot, and he looks great. Looks so good. It's exciting how good he looks at the right guard spot. But you look at that combination in the interior, and it feels like you've got 6 guys that are potential starters against UTEP, and it's just going to kind of work itself out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Maybe a dumb question. Let me ask you this. Center it's a little bit different than really most of the other positions where, with it, you're tasked with some extra stuff for sure. With that being said, if you think Maikkula is coming back for Michigan, I guess what I'm saying is, is there a chance that you would play maybe not your best 5, but if you expect him back, quickly, you don't start moving guys around as much, you try and keep as much continuity as possible to where maybe you go with Nita, in game 1, so your guards continue to play guard and you're not moving a bunch. Does that make sense how I'm asking that? It's kind of jumbled.
It makes sense. right? Do you really want, with Noah Best focusing so much on right guard, do you really want him to bump over and play center?
Right.
And maybe, but my counter to that would be Noah Best has never played a college football game. And center is the easiest position to play on the offensive line physically. It's the most challenging mentally, right? Because you have to make all the calls, you have to direct all the traffic. I think the argument can be made that in that first game, like you want Noah Best to walk off Owen Field going, I can do this.
Yeah.
You want his confidence to be as high as it possibly can be before you go to Ann Arbor in week 2. And center's the easiest position on the offensive line to play physically.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's capable of doing it. So that's it. It's going to be a complicated situation for Bill Bedenbaugh, but it feels like it'll be best Ernita at center because the most important thing in football, Ted, is
Getting the snap to the quarterback.
the most important thing in football is the football. And Ryan Foja's just he's never played center.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different going out there in front of 85,000 people than it is doing it in the indoor on a Saturday and run in front of a bunch of former players.
Well, what is it like the 10,000 hours rule, you know?
Yes, and I do want to say Foje has been, I think selfless is the right word with what he's had to do during training camp. The
well,
guy's
really
basically
his
played
whole time here. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, his whole time here has been he's played all over the place.
he is like normally you want to focus on one spot and get really, really good at it. He has not been able to do that. And that's tough, man. It's tough on a young lineman, but to his credit, he's just said, "Hey, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And I think guard or even tackle is his best position, but I don't really know how this is going to work out because there's all kinds of different lineups. Now, Fasusi and Harris are your tackles.
Yeah.
There's just no debating that. Like that's Michael Fasusi's walking out at left tackle. Amarian Harris is walking out at right tackle. Like that's we know that. The interior three over these next 12 days, figure it out.
Yeah.
Because there's different combinations you could go with. Like EPL has been the left guard all training camp. But if you move Best to center, does that put Foje at right guard? Sure. If you're playing Nita at center, you would assume Best, who's been rolling with the first team with the right guard at right guard for nearly all of training camp, like you assume he's going to be your right guard. Well, then is it EPL or is it Foje at left guard?
Yeah.
That's where if you play Nita, is there a world where you start Foje over Best at right guard, despite Noah Best playing the vast majority of first team reps at right guard throughout camp? Like, I don't know.
The good thing is it feels like you've got several scenarios that you feel pretty good about. Like it's not, I mean, you could be talking about like where do we move some of these guys, trying to fill gaping holes, and you're pulling from one area to fix another, and maybe you end up making both spots worse, you know, type of thing. And it feels like even though you haven't had a whole lot of time to really gear up for it, and you may have a guy playing out a position that he's never done before, but it does feel like you've got some solid options that could end up being good. Like Noah Best, I don't know if he's a future center, but you know, if he plays some center, and you know, Michael is a senior, like, do you find something there? Do you have a really good center for the future? Foje moves around, and you know, you could maybe find something with him as well as he starts, you know, snapping the ball and get more comfortable with it. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Like the big question is, and here's the thing, like we're sitting here speculating on what they may do, not operating with nearly the information that the staff has. Like you could answer these questions a lot better if you knew what sooner rather than later was.
No
And
doubt.
they do, which is, you'll probably be able to tell a little bit of what they do. You'll may be able to gauge how long it is till Maikkula comes back.
And this is just my opinion. I haven't talked to anyone on the staff about this. So I want to make that clear. But I feel like you got to operate under the assumption like you just don't know when Jake Maikkula is going to be back. You can assume like, hey, this is the standard recovery for his injury. This is when we think he'll be back. All right, what's the plan until that point? But you never really know with rehabs, man. So if it were me, I would operate. I'd be like, all right, we got to pretend like Jake just doesn't exist for now.
He doesn't exist until he does, right?
Right. So how do we put our best five on the field? That's how I would approach the situation. And I think, especially when you look at that Michigan game in week 2, you you got to have the guys out there that can get it done physically. You know, because Michigan's going to have that D line's going to be legit, man. That front seven's going to be legit. That's going to be a physical football game. Really physical. So that's the way I see it. Like I think you got to go with your five that are going to give you the best chance to go beat Michigan.
Do you have an opinion on what you think the best five would be from what you've seen, or a feeling of what direction they may lean? Or
I think your most talented five is Fasusi, EPL, Best, Foje, Harris.
from left to right, or are you just throwing five names out?
From left to right. I'd play Best at center.
Okay.
Now, I want to make something very clear. He also, and he's way better than I was at this point. He also kind of reminds me of myself, the way that he moves. So I kind of just want to watch him play center. Like a young me, he's going to end up being way better than I was. But that's part of it, that there's definitely that aspect to it. Okay. He plays with like low in his stance, flat back. Like I just really good technique. There's part of me, I'm just going to acknowledge I want to watch the guy play center. I just do.
Is there anything different? I obviously you're snapping the football, and that changes things or makes things a little bit more difficult. But is the footwork the same?
No,
Okay.
everything's different
Okay.
because you're playing both sides at center.
Right.
If you're playing right guard and left guard, like you do everything as a right guard and left guard. As a center, you do everything both ways. So the footwork's different, but like I watched the guy play center all spring.
Yeah.
I I know he's capable of doing it. And the thing about Nita is like I think he can go get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
but he's physically limited. He just is. Now,
He can get the job done, but he's not part of the best five.
I maybe he ends up maybe he strings together a really good next 10 days and you're like, yeah, we feel great about it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have like a lot, he doesn't have a lot of length.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is really smart and super tough, and he's going to give you everything he's got. I know that about that kid. But do I think that Noah Best and Ryan Foje being on the field gives us the best chance to succeed against Michigan? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But it ain't up to me, Ted.
Right. No, it makes sense though. I mean, that's um yeah. It's just I don't know. It's pretty rare, and I mean the feeling I at least for me would be totally different had Noah Best not showed up to this training camp and looked the way that he did as a true freshman. You know what I'm saying? Like that's um that was a great little asset that you stumbled upon. I mean, I'm sure they knew that he was going to play really well, but he's performed great, and that's given you some more leeway and some more options than maybe you thought you were going to have before you started training camp.
The one thing I don't know when it comes to Noah Best is like, okay, if he bumps over to the center position, like how dialed is he to making all the calls, directing all the traffic? Like how comfortable is he with that role? I still don't think I've heard the kid say a word. at practice.
Right.
So he's kind of a quieter guy, just lets his play do the talking. But if you move into that center spot, you got to be loud, you got to be vocal, you got to be comfortable with that. So
Well, maybe that gets him out of his shell a little bit because you
I
kind of
I
have to.
don't I don't know how that piece of things are. I'm not going to pretend that I know because that's a big part of playing the position. But I just think there's in my mind with Jake Maikkula removed from the picture, like Noah Best is your best option at center
I like
because
that.
Foje is. I mean, he's big. I'm not worried about the physical piece of it, but it's like the guy's never snapped in a game. It's just a tough ask for Ryan Foje. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I
then
understand.
he's physically limited, especially when you compare him to Foje and Best. So
Yeah.
that's my line of thinking on it. Now, if Caleb Nita's the starting center against UTEP, I'm not going to be worried at all because UTEP's not going to have the type of players that can expose some of his physical limitations.
Yeah.
So you go to Ann Arbor in week 2, different conversation. So I don't know how it's going to shake out, but it's become undoubtedly for me the most interesting piece of this football team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Shocker. I'm locked in on the O line. Shocking.
well, it's kind of a rare thing. I mean, you don't see it a whole lot at, tight ends play tight end, running backs play running back, linebackers play linebacker, but on the offensive line, like you get into this musical chairs situation, it's an interesting thing, and there's some moving parts there, and there's some guesswork as to what the best combination could be.
Any other big observations from
From the
practice?
from practice, uh yeah, I thought there was some good stuff. I wasn't sure. We knew that Trell Harris had some really good production coming from Virginia. Didn't get to see him in the spring. Didn't really hear much through the summer. Wasn't ready to go early in training camp. And, I remember saying, like, a veteran wide receiver that's got a long history of production, like, I'm not worried about it. Like, not like training camp is different for different guys. Some guys you need them out there and you need, you know, however many practices you need them to develop and see what they have and really, really measure up. But, Trell Harris has come in at some point in training camp. They kind of eased him in and looks like he's full go now. And he makes a lot of plays. The football finds him.
Productive,
Yes.
explosive,
Yeah.
sudden. One of the things that I've been really encouraged about is how he looks after the catch.
Yeah. He's kind of violent through, like, he accelerates through the catch, doesn't he?
He's he everything points to him having a big year in Crimson and Cream.
Yep. Yep. It looks like, Satania and Trell Harris are really, really good compliments to one another.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't see John Mateer throw any jump passes, Ted,
Yeah. Well,
because the reaction to that social media clip that OU put out, my goodness, I've never seen such a negative reaction to a cool play in my life. I don't think.
like
What
it's
is he doing? I thought this was over. Why is he doing this? It's like, guys, it's just kind of cool. Can we not just appreciate it? That's kind of sick.
yeah, and here's the thing. It's one thing to be in the pocket and unnecessarily jump and throw or do something other than your typical footwork. But like when you have the football and you sprint as hard as you can away from your throwing arm, that's kind of what you have to do to put any juice on a football. So I thought it was a fine play with a good result. Now, it looked like if that was live action, he would have gotten annihilated as he let go of that football in the air. But solid play.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I This is usually my test for things like that. Like, how would people react if Patrick Mahomes did it?
Oh my God.
People would have loved it.
Yeah.
But our fan base is scarred from some of the bad footwork, some of the unnecessary jump passes from the 2025 season. They've been told this stuff has been eliminated from his game. We say it all the time. Yes, we want him to be more disciplined. We want him to be calmer in the pocket. We want all that stuff, but you do not want to eliminate the playmaker that's in that guy.
Yeah. And
And
I thought
that's going and making a play, and it looks cool, and it was awesome. And Aline caught the ball. Can we just say, hey, that was pretty sweet instead of losing our minds, people, please?
it's, it is what it is, but it's fascinating how far we've come. It was, originally it's like, oh my gosh, how cool is the content coming out of training camp and practice these days? You get to see a little bit behind the curtain too. Like everyone breaks down every little snippet of a play to try and draw some big conclusions as to what type of camp a guy's had or what type of season he may have. But I thought personally at the practice on Saturday, I thought Mateer looked really sharp. A lot of really good plays down in the red zone. Ball was on time, a lot of velocity on some of those passes, accurate. I thought he looked good.
I'm going to say something, and I'm interested in your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
John Mateer looks his best when he's playing from under center.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. Like I don't know if it just creates a natural timing and like natural rhythm for him, but he looks his sharpest when they are operating from under center. And that's like run game, pass game, play action game. I've been really impressed with how polished and efficient and just comfortable he looks doing the play action stuff from under center. I don't know what it is about it, Ted, but he looks very crisp playing from under center. And I don't know what my expectation was. I know they were doing it a lot in the spring. Clearly, they've worked all off season on it, but I don't know. Just it's when he looks his most comfortable to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of things about it. The rhythm is a little bit different, you know. You get some real movement to before you set up. Uh, I think the way some of the route combinations can work, the timing aspect of it is a little bit better. Whenever you're in the shotgun, like I think there's some nervousness waiting as you're just staring at everything, watching the routes unfold, and that clock is ticking. Other than, whenever you're under center, there's footwork and there's whether you got a play fake or a 5-step drop or whatever it is. I think there's some physical rhythm there that maybe sets you at ease as a quarterback as the routes develop instead of maybe just feeling like a sitting duck back there. I don't know. Maybe it has nothing to do with that, but I agree with you. He looks really good because he's got really good movement patterns. And for an athlete, I mean, it makes sense that you're a little more comfortable moving than standing, for lack of a better, term or phrase there out of the shotgun, which, I mean, he still looks fine there, but maybe it's just a nice breakup and it's nice to move between some different things and, be able to channel some of your focus athletically, not so much mentally, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost it like creates this natural structure for him to play within.
Yeah, he's like a Belgian Malinois dog. They can't just sit there, right? Absolutely have to be on the move, doing something at all times. So just get him out on the move.
I I guarantee you that's the first time he's been compared to that. That fantastic. Fantastic. All right, we got a couple more training camp practice observations, and also clearly got to talk about this Venables extension. But first, Download the updated Loves app, your guide to savings and points with the new Loves Rewards program. Save on fuel with 10 cents off gas and up to 25 cents off auto diesel while earning points on every gallon and dollar you spend. In store, unlock mobile deals and redeem points on snacks, drinks, Love's freshly made meals, and more. Plus, plan your next road trip with a map and route planner. Download the Loves app today and earn 100 bonus points on your first in-store scan through September 1st. All from Love's, the heart of the highway.
Miss K's is real beef, real ingredients, and no shortcuts. Made the same way I've always fed my own family, with the love. My name is Miss K, and I'd be honored to feed your family too.
Each delicious stick is made with 100% grass-fed beef and is packed with 12 grams of protein and only 1 gram of sugar. Visit misskays.com and use code SOONER at checkout for free shipping on your first order.
And we are brought to you by Oklahoma-owned Simple Modern, the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. It's August in Oklahoma, and that can only mean one thing. OU football is almost back, baby. And limited edition OU football Simple Modern drinkware will be available at every home game. And this season, fans get to choose from their unique best-selling Mesa Loop, Voyager Trek, and Classic drinkware, featuring 7 unique game day designs available only in Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium while supplies last. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you'll also know you're helping Oklahomans off the field as well. Simple Modern, good everywhere.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
Okay, a few more observations from practice. And this is something that we noticed in the spring, and it's only increased and gotten better as I've watched practices in fall camp. The offense is just way more sophisticated now, man. And what I mean by that is I don't think we watched a single play on Saturday where there wasn't a shift or a trade or a motion, whether that was a motion before the snap, a guy resetting and changing the formation, motion at the snap. It is so much more sophisticated pre-snap than it was a year ago. Shifts, trades, motions, pretty much every play. Mm-hmm. Challenging the defense to communicate and adjust constantly. And that's due to what they're able to do from a personnel standpoint, being able to mix personnels, that forcing the defense to substitute, match, or not, whatever they're going to do there. But it feels like Ben Arbuckle and this offensive staff have made that a big point of emphasis. And to those guys' credit and to these players' credit, like it looks very clean pre-snap right there, right now for them. Like everything has looked very organized and very crisp. So that's something that we talked about a lot last season, is just how easy it felt like our offense was to prepare for. And that was mostly a personnel conversation. But now it feels like this offense is going to be much more difficult to prepare for because of, yes, the personnel that we have now, especially at tight end, but also how the picture is changing before we snap the football.
Yeah, like a big thing is like whenever I watch offenses, like the thing that you don't really talk about for defenses that makes things more difficult is constant movement. You know, when you watch our offense, they'll come out in 11 personnel with one tight 3 wide, run a play, huddle up, change personnel, then they'll go to 12, right? Then they'll maybe go back to 11. Maybe they'll, it's just the constant movement of personnel and logistics makes things hard on the defense because you're just delaying everything a little bit. And let's be honest, like if you come out in a heavy personnel snap, like defensively, you want to, there may be a change on your defensive line that you want to get to rotate a new guy. Like the more you sub on offense, the more you sub on defense. And like one of the parts you don't talk about is you got D linemen that are running back and forth all game long. Someone's over top, had a shoestring break, and all of a sudden you're in a heavy personnel and you got an extra D lineman, and oh, this guy's down. That means you got to like someone else is like you constantly mess with the personnel of a defense. And then that's before you even break the huddle. Then you come up to the football. And I've loved watching Mateer. They break the huddle. He walks up, to get under center. You scan the defense. He's maybe motioning a tight end to the other side, maybe telling a wide receiver to change his split. I mean, there's just a lot of good communication that's going on. And the more you do that, the longer it takes for the defense to get set. And, they may be waiting to send their call on to see what the final formation is. It's got a really good flow to it that keeps the defense on their toes before you ever even snap the ball.
And really, you present all this window dressing, and then you're just getting to your place.
Yep.
Like you're doing all of this just to get to your core plays. And so you're running the same stuff. You're just presenting it in a different way consistently. And I've always believed college players could handle more of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, you'd heard coaches say, "Oh, we got to keep things simple. We don't get that much time with these guys." That's not the case anymore. Like,
well, it just the very recently, it was like simplify everything and just go, 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 go. How many times can you snap it, and how fast can you snap it? And there's some benefits to that, but this is a different pace and a different flow, and you can. If you're good at it and you can communicate and you have some success, I think you can. I mean, it's maybe a little bit different style, but I actually like it. I think it's fun to watch. And it's effective.
It's very entertaining, and it challenges the defense. And the operational stuff offensively has looked clean from what I've seen. So it's exciting. It's exciting that it feels like this offense is evolving into something that's going to challenge defenses in a different way this season.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. And again, like these are small changes. It's not like you're going to walk out there and watch them in game one and be like, "Oh my gosh, a totally new offense." It's not. I mean, it's I'm sure there's a handful of things that they've added, but for the most part, it's a lot of the same stuff that you're going to see in this conference and what we did a year ago, but the operation seems really good. Some of the personnel choices that they can make, because they got a bunch of wide receivers they can throw at you. I don't know what that rotation is going to look like. And they got a bunch of running backs they could throw at you. I don't know what that rotation is going to look like.
We'll see. I do know that it felt like safety depth was one of the big topics coming into camp. Marion Robinson makes some plays, man.
He's had a good camp, man. Every time I've been out there, he's been all over the place.
He had himself a day on Saturday.
I guess so.
They ended up putting that one-handed interception out in a social media post, and that got quite the reaction in the building from the former players.
Yeah. It was honestly a ball that was put in a pretty good place, where you would think only your guy can get it or it's going to be wide and out of bounds. But, if a safety can reach an arm out and just pluck it like that, that makes it difficult. That was a crazy play.
And it wasn't his only one. Like, that's the thing is that dude can cover ground to the sideline. I mean, he had multiple interceptions. Now, the one-handed one was just by far the coolest. I mean, that was sick. Nice. But he shows up in practice. He's productive, and we'll see how much he ends up playing, but it feels like it's going to be a significant amount. I am interested to see how Brandon Hall ends up dividing those snaps at that safety spot. But Boganowski and Robinson both looking really strong, man.
Yeah. And, I feel like overall as the defense, last year we played so many guys, really all three levels. You played a bunch of different guys. We've still got some good depth, but I feel like the rotations, it's trending towards maybe a little bit tighter rotations than we had a year ago defensively.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah. I mean, you hope you stay healthy, and if you do, that defense is going to be nasty.
They look good. Good.
One last thing from practice, and I'm not sure what it's going to look like for him, but I just want to point out Trent Washington continues to get better.
Yeah.
I don't know what his role is going to be, but it feels like he's carving one out. He's gotten so much better since spring ball. I remember watching him pretty closely in spring and being like, he's big, he's athletic, but it's just not very polished. And that all makes sense when you consider what he was in high school. But now he's starting to look like a tight end, man.
Yeah.
And I know we feel really good about the three tight ends that we got that are going to play the bulk of the snaps, but you can't just assume all three of those guys are going to be fresh as a daisy all season long. So I think Trent Washington has done himself some serious good with the way that he's worked all offseason, what he's done in training camp, and the improvement that he's made. It's going to lead to him playing for this team. And I just really respect how he's gone about his business and how much better he's gotten. It's what you're looking for from young players.
I agree. And he's got some nice versatility to him. He could do some things out there. In some different roles because, tight end, you can, that could be a position that expands to a lot of different areas. You can split out, you can be an inline tight end, you can be a wing, H-back. There's some other stuff you could do, but I agree. I think, you go back to a year ago and we felt like we were really outmatched physically and just like size and, a bunch of aspects at tight end. And now, like, all of a sudden you got maybe four guys at tight end that you feel pretty solid about. Hey, that's a big change over one season.
He's looked really good blocking out in space to me. Whether that's kind of like that nickel spot, safety's coming down in the alley, like that stuff, but he fits up on backers really nicely. I wonder if there's like an H-back, almost like fullback type of role for him from what I've seen.
Hey,
did I just say fullback?
We got options, okay? We got options. And it's going to be a little bit different feeling in short yardage because like a year ago, we kind of didn't have a great personnel. We didn't have great personnel options on short yardage and like goal line situations. We'd go three tight ends, but you kind of had to, you had to do something unconventional a little bit in some of those situations with the personnel because you couldn't just run three tight ends out there and try and mow over the top of people.
Ted, I'm not sure you remember. I could go back in my game logs that I do, my play-by-play notes that I take when we review the tape. There were some situations where we went 12 personnel in some of the short yardage things, and it was a choice. It was a choice.
Yep.
It was a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I will feel much better about those situations this season.
Yep. And again, like we go just back to Trent Washington being the fourth guy. He offers something different than the other three. So you got four guys there that each have maybe a little bit different specialty. And I think that's what makes the group so great.
He's just a big human too.
Yeah.
Big human out there on the field. Ready to talk about Venables' extension?
Let's do it.
The University of Oklahoma has extended the contract of OU football head coach Brent Venables. They add 2 additional years onto that deal, taking it through the 2031 season. I guess the expectation is we'll average more than $10.5 million per season. Seems like everyone had to share their opinion on this extension. Ted, what's your opinion? How we feeling, man?
I feel good about it. You know, I guess I can understand people being hesitant about it. I guess I didn't expect to have a week of everyone in the college football world carving this decision up into a bunch of pieces. Because the largest thing about it is this is the cost of doing business. You know, that's how much the position earns. You know, they didn't vastly overpay him. What is he, like the fifth or sixth highest paid coach in the SEC now? Something like that.
Sounds right.
Like, they didn't go and make him the highest paid coach in the conference. He's paid what the University of Oklahoma head football coach is going to make. Like, if you're a program that's, you know, considered to be like a top 10 program or in that range, that's how much it costs to pay your head coach. You know, that's just how much it costs these days. And, you know, I guess you can carve it up. Could they have waited? Yeah, maybe they could have. But I think that it probably says a lot about what the powers that be here feel about the operation and what their expectations of it moving forward are. You know, a lot of people get caught up. You don't pay people for what they did, right? You pay people for what you want them to do. Okay. You get into trouble when you start paying people for what they did. All right. And I think that this is a sign that there is a really strong belief that the future is bright and the program is headed in the right direction, and they are comfortable being proactive and, you know, getting a deal done for Venables that extends him, and that you move on from it. Can we look back maybe in 2 years and say, what an awesome decision? Locked him up, you know, before they went and did this, and maybe you get a couple years at a discount. Yeah, maybe we do. Could we look back in 2 years and say, man, you know, they jumped the gun on that extension, and now you're tied to this bad decision and you can't have any flexibility? Yeah, that may be the case. But if you've spent any time around Brent Venables, you know that this is it. This is what he does. He's not going to change. You are going to get the same coach in the same style and the same intensity next year and the year after that, and 5 years down the road, and 10 years down the road. It doesn't matter what he gets paid. Doesn't matter if it's 10, 15, 20 million. He is 100% wide open throttle every single day. There's other coaches that you have to worry about. Do they want to jump to the NFL? Are they playing too much golf? Right? Do we need to track their handicap scores and see how many rounds they've been playing in the offseason? No. He is all in 100% all the time, full commitment to the program and getting better every single day. And I think this is just a show of confidence that they believe we're headed in the right direction. And, you know, maybe there was a point during last year where you were kind of at the breaking point. Do his methods work? Are we making up the ground that we need to? And, you know, the way that they finished the season, I think, and have continued to improve the roster, I think that there is clearly a consensus in the building that we are headed in the right direction. We have the guy that we want at head coach. Off we go.
I think one thing is very clear. OU's leadership believes in Brent Venables.
Yeah.
They believe in what he is building, and they like the way that he goes about his business, and it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you're the University of Oklahoma and you view yourselves as one of the premier programs in the country, and you're coming off the college football playoff appearance, like you pay your coach accordingly. It's that simple to me. And I think, you also have to combine this with the Jim Nagy extension that they got in place.
Mhm.
I think OU's leadership views this combination of Venables and Nagy as one of, if not the best combinations in all of college football.
Right.
And you're starting to see, I mean, you look at how this program is recruiting. Now, I know this all can change in a couple weeks when we go to Ann Arbor. I know this, like that game is massive. I understand that. But right now, I think OU's leadership feels very, very good about Venables and the coaching staff combined with Nagy in the front office. And they feel like they've found one of, if not the best combination of that in the country. And they're going to do what they have to do to keep it together. And I do think it's important to point out, I think we got back to the best version of Brent Venables last season. I think him calling the defense and being in the trenches in that way, like, I think that's the best version of him.
Yeah.
And we saw what the results were. But I think maybe early on he was trying to be what everyone wants like a head coach to be instead of just being himself. And I think last year he got back to being himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we all watched that and went, yeah, that's the guy we hired, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's that's a piece of it as well. But listen, that I know there was a big reaction from all kinds of people. I don't care, man. I know this. I'm going to support that man. As long as he's the head coach at Oklahoma, that man has my full support.
Yeah.
And you can't sit here and go, well, oh, what if this? It's like, can we just have some confidence about us, please? And be happy that we feel like we're in a place where we should extend our head coach? Like that things are going well and trending even better. You know what I mean?
And I feel like that's where the vast majority of fans lie. You know, not only is the on-field stuff moving in the right direction, I think they also really believe in the way that he runs the program, right? And the type of culture that he's built. And that doesn't mean nothing, right? And like the funniest thing to me out there is like Oklahoma is competing with themselves for Brent Venables. Like they're not bidding against anyone else. Like no one is trying to bring Venables in as their head coach. And I'm like, number one, like you don't know anything about what his options out there are. And I don't think, I mean, yeah, it's probably the case that he's not fielding a ton of phone calls for head coaching jobs because he's probably viewed as, if things go well at Oklahoma, he's never going to leave Oklahoma, right? But to suggest that if Brent Venables was not at Oklahoma tomorrow, that he wouldn't have a million job offers is insane.
I don't disagree with that. Now, would it be for head coaching positions at that price point? I have no idea. Most likely not. But there's no doubt who in college football doesn't want Brent Venables run their defense?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I find it fascinating. And I don't know. I guess I could sit here and talk about things till I'm blue in the face. No one really cares. But you know, the transition has been, it was literally the worst time possible to take over as head coach at Oklahoma, considering the landscape of college football, what had the couple years previous leading into it, the constantly changing landscape, switching conferences, like you were almost going to be doomed to a rough patch, like no matter who you hired. And did Venables and his staff learn some things along the way and have to adjust? Absolutely. You have to, because the landscape is changing constantly. But with where they are today, I don't think you can look back at where we've come from since he took over to where we are now and not say that they've done an amazing job and really have set themselves up to have a lot of success in the future. Nothing is guaranteed. You never know what's going to happen. There's a bunch of other really well-run programs out there as well, and it's always going to be difficult to win a championship. But when you go back and look at the last couple of years, some of the stuff has taken a while, right? You maybe could have just thrown a ton of money at this situation, said culture be damned. We're just going to bring in the best players. Doesn't matter personality, doesn't matter background. We're just going to go pay a bunch of guys. But Venables has been a little bit more deliberate, and the culture aspect has been a huge part of what he's done. And I would say that that's one of the reasons I'm so bullish about the future with Oklahoma, is because of the culture. It matters, especially in college football. All right, you could say maybe in the NFL it's not nearly as big of a factor, but in college football it's huge. And I put the culture that they've got right now up against anyone. That matters.
Whether it's current players, former players from the last couple of years, recruits, coaches. You're right, Ted. Like, everyone talks about how great the culture is.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I know that wins and losses are what people really care about. That's what this fan base cares about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fair. But culture and the type of men that you are producing from your program, it still matters. It does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that Venables and this staff, they've done a great job with that piece of things. And the hope is that since you've done such a good job with that piece of it, that translates into winning a lot of football games.
Yeah.
And I think, and we've said it a bunch on here, like, this is going to be Brent Venables' best team at Oklahoma. We'll see if that ends up translating into a really fun season for all of us.
See if it's the best team. Hopefully it's the best result. I know this. Venables is a really easy guy to bet on, because you don't get this. You know exactly what you're going to get every single day. The consistency is second to none, and that's what you want. You want strong, capable, consistency, sustainability, all of those things, and I think he brings that. Wins and losses is going to tell the story ultimately, and I don't know. Feel like they're in a good position right now.
Yep. We can revisit this in like 2 years. How about that?
Yeah. I can guarantee you this. It ain't going to be the worst coaching decision we've ever seen.
Hey, buddy, we're recording the podcast. I'll be right out, okay? All right, I love you.
Does he think 10 million's too much a year?
Do you think 10.5 million per year is too much for Coach Venables? Or do you think that's just right? Just right. Eli's opinion's just right.
Case closed.
I think that's a first appearance for one of our children on the podcast. Congrats, E.
Good.
All right. I'll be right out. Teddy and I gotta dust off our law degrees to talk about this eligibility stuff. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products, and you can email Jacob at schwabmeat.com for a special Oklahoma breakdown discount on your order. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just the bun, dog, mustard, and ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. So visit schwabmeat.com and order your favorites today. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. My go-to is the double bison cheeseburger. It's so good. The garage is the perfect spot to watch any big game, and you can enjoy Rad Hour every day. Enjoy discounted domestic beers, house wines, draft cocktails, and frozen cocktails Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you or order online from the garage in your neighborhood. You've been building equity. Now it's time to use it. With a home equity line of credit from First Fidelity Bank, you can turn your home's value into real moves. Fix up your space, pay down debt, or handle what life throws your way. Get flexible access to cash plus a 3.99% intro APR for 6 months. No pressure, just possibilities. Talk to your local FFB banker or visit ffb.com and see what your equity can do. First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. Hey, Oklahoma, are you sure you're in good hands? Do you really think your insurance company is like a good neighbor? Because when storm season rolls around, the real damage is caused by big insurance companies who deny, delay, distract, and depreciate. Marr Law Firm is the leader in bad faith insurance litigation, and for more than 30 years, Marr Law Firm has ensured Oklahomans never fight alone, reclaiming more than $500 million for people just like you. When insurance companies try to claim what's yours, claim victory with Marr Law Firm. That's MARR lawfirm.com. All right, Ted, hope you're ready for some legal discussion in the college football roundup.
Always.
Okay, two big things happened this week, I'm told. 10th Circuit Court of Appeals granted the NCAA stay Friday morning that reverses the blanket order giving a 5th year of eligibility for the class of 2022 athletes that came from that judge in Colorado. So viewed as a win for the NCAA. But that doesn't eliminate what has happened in state courts where athletes have been granted restraining orders to play a 5th season. So really, did anything happen other than it feels like all these athletes now just have to go attach their name to some type of state court suit?
Well, I mean, this has been of all the craziness we've seen in these court cases, the one constant, and you've said it a lot, the lawyers win, right? They continue to win here. Just keep piling up those billable hours. Just extend this thing and keep it going.
The judge in Louisiana that granted a TRO to like more than 30 athletes, that included 16 football players. And that allows them not only to go back to college for a 5th year of eligibility, but it gives them, I think it was like a 1 week window to be in the transfer portal. So not only do they get to go back, they get to field offers and then choose where they want to go. And I think that I think people can get on board with this because that judge did say, hey, if you signed a contract and you got paid by an NFL team, you got to terminate that contract. You got to repay any money that you received. So it feels like kind of fair because remember, these guys made the decision to go pro before they knew that they may be able to get a 5th year of eligibility. And kind of now they have that knowledge. Did you see Drew Rosenhaus talking about Dae'Quan Wright?
No.
So Drew Rosenhaus is Dae'Quan Wright's agent.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically was like, yeah, Dae'Quan came to me and told me about this idea. It's like, my job is to do what's best for him. So we don't think he's going to make the Browns. So we're trying to get him another year of college football where he's going to make some money. He'll repay the money and off we go. It was really interesting to hear one of the most powerful agents in football talk about it.
Yeah. Now what was interesting, I did hear, the coach of the Browns talking about it and how it all has kind of caught him by surprise. But here's my general view, because it's hard to keep up with all the different stuff.
Oh, it's exhausting, but it does affect this college football season because
yes,
you look whether it's Ole Miss or LSU that's going to end up being the big winner here. Like, it looks like some of these teams are going to get back like some serious contributors, like difference makers.
Yeah, and that's kind of my my problem with the way it's unfolded. I didn't mind the general ruling that opened it up to the entire class. What was that? The one out of Colorado?
Believe so. And there was like an antitrust element to that. I'm not a lawyer, but there's
Right.
I don't know.
I just kind of view it football wise. I say you either open it up to all of those guys or you open it up to none. And I know that that's not the way that this thing's going to unfold because of the broken up state battles. But like you can go like this is all of a sudden turned into a spot where like certain schools have a chance to gain a massive advantage over everyone else. If their state courts operate or, issue a ruling that is beneficial, and some schools may have the ability to take advantage of it, and other schools may not have a window to take advantage of it. So like that's the part of it I don't like, that this has a chance to benefit instead of being like an open marketplace type of situation. It has a chance to benefit a few pockets of schools way more than it does anyone else. And for the fairness aspect, I don't like that.
It feels like all the schools could just get together. I know, shocking to think about all these institutions like having a conversation and work together. Like, if you want your guys back, can't everyone just tag all those names along to like one suit in one state?
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I see this stuff, I always go, okay, how does this affect OU football? Remember, Danny Saili was part of that Colorado blanket eligibility decision by that judge. So from my understanding now, he's going to be able to play at OU. He just has to go tag his name along to one of these where a judge is going to grant a group of athletes a TRO, and then you're good.
Right.
I think it's that simple. Once again, not a lawyer. Raised by two lawyers, brother of another, but not a lawyer. And I just think that while the blanket fifth year for everyone, it does seem like a lot simpler for the NCAA and would really keep their legal fees down if they just would have been like, okay, fine. And now it feels like they're going to have to fight individual battle after individual battle after individual battle. But I don't know. I still think these guys are going to be able to play another year. That's just kind of how I see it. I could be missing something, but that's just how it feels to me.
I hope this is it.
Me too, man. I'm tired of talking about it, but it's like it's going to affect the season that starts in 2 weeks.
I know. And I guess my hope is like, okay, like whatever. They play, they don't play, let's just be done with it, because with the new eligibility 5 for 5, hopefully you don't have any of these situations in the future. Now, lawyers have a way of finding, loopholes and a way to, challenge everything. So I'm sure that something with the new rule, the new eligibility requirements will be challenged. But my hope is that this is the last year of this crazy, this guy can play, this guy can't. Oh, maybe there's a loophole for this player to get an extra year. Hopefully that is done. And maybe I'm being too optimistic.
There are some, just when you look at that Louisiana one, there's some
big names.
There's some players in there now.
Yeah.
I mean, how much did we like Dae'Quan Wright before they played OU last year?
Yeah.
It feels natural to assume he's going to end up at LSU, right? If he does get that it was really awkward. He was like catching passes and warm-ups for the Browns. What was that, yesterday, 2 days ago, for a preseason game? And everyone's like, that guy's going to be playing in college football this year.
It's weird. And, unfortunately, because of that, like, if there's a handful of schools out there that are battling and trying to get some of these guys back, if you're Oklahoma, it's like, whether or not you like this thing or you don't like it, you've got to get involved as well, lest everyone get a competitive advantage over you heading into the season. So you got to go out there and do your due diligence and see if there's a way it can benefit your roster also. Just that's how it is right now.
Zxavian Harris, you remember them? 51
Mm-hmm.
from Ole Miss.
Yep.
I told the guy to move the offensive line. I told him that. Didn't listen. And that, can I give you an idea for him? Because he can come back and help Ole Miss right away in Pete Golding's defense. I mean, he started for him. He played a gajillion snaps for him. Ole Miss is a better football team if that guy's on the roster. There's no doubt.
Yep.
But if you're Zxavian Harris, like, you got to start thinking about your football future, right? The NFL just told you, you ain't good enough, man. And there's always like an injury discussion and that stuff. Like, I get it, but maybe, like, is it possible he goes somewhere and he says, "Hey, I could be a situational D tackle for you, but I want to do offensive line individual. I need to start working on being a tackle."
He looks like, I mean, that's what he looks like. He doesn't
Of course.
look like defensive lineman. Looks like
I know it when I see it, Ted.
Yep.
That guy ain't a D tackle in the NFL. He's an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he just looks at it and goes, "Okay, I got one more year to make as much money as possible," or do you look at it and say, "Hey, can I transition to offensive line?" That's one of the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
Now, most likely he just goes back and plays for Pete Golding in that defense, or he gets a call from his old head coach and he ends up in Baton Rouge.
You know, I'm fascinated by you. I mean, if they're calling you and they're really interested, it probably says something about how they feel about their roster.
Yeah.
And I also, it's like, you may not ever again have a better leverage situation as a player contract wise. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what those teams' situation is, it's like, yeah, I'll come, but you know, it's 1 year and the price better be right.
I mean, have you seen all the headlines with Trent Hendrick, that linebacker from JMU?
No.
Who's getting another year? This dude was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year.
Good player, yes.
Good player. And I mean, you look at the headlines, latest on Virginia Tech's pursuit of transfer Trent Hendrick. James Madison transfer linebacker Trent Hendrick loves USA. Loves USA. I'm sure he loves the USA. Loves UCLA. Cal reportedly in the running for Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Trent Hendrick. Like, it's school after school. And these teams clearly feel if they add him, they're going to be a better football team.
Yep.
So it feels like Trent Hendrick is in a good spot leverage-wise.
That's right. Yeah. And I don't know. It's hard. It's late in the game. But it's weird. Like, once you get out of maybe you feel differently, but once you get out of like the college ecosystem and go to the NFL and learn that offense or that defense, I feel like it's way easier to go step into another situation and pick it. Does that make sense? Like, and be able to pick things up quickly, because that's kind of the world you live in the NFL. And I don't know. I guess like that is it's a good prerequisite for being a late free agent addition to a team, for lack of a better term, to be able to go pick up a system.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than something I went through multiple times. Like, you get cut at the very end of training camp, you get claimed, you go somewhere else the next day, and you got to learn the playbook because week one's coming.
Yep.
It's really no different than what these guys are going through. It's just really weird because they're going from being in the NFL or just being cut from the NFL to back to college. It's very strange. We've never seen it.
My other kind of take on it is, how do you think the players in college in the locker room feel? I mean, at this point, maybe they're used to it. And it's kind of like the NFL where you got guys coming and going all the time, and it's not really something you think about. They're going to put the best roster together. It is what it is. You know, it's a little bit different dynamic in college. You know, we talked about the culture aspect of it, like bringing guys in, you want to develop them and play those guys. So like if you're a sophomore or a junior that's, starting to get your first playing time, and here they are right before the season bringing in a veteran player from somewhere else. Just, I wonder what that feels like in the locker room in college these days.
Probably doesn't feel great. Like that's human nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if one of those guys were to pull me aside and say, "Hey, man, what do you think?" I'd say, "You want to play? Be better than that guy."
That's
You're
all
not
it always boils down to at the most basic level.
as someone. How many times did I get cut? Like 9 times, 8 times, 9 times. You ain't gonna get any sympathy from me, brother. You want to play? Be the best option.
Yep.
That's simple. I mean, that's life. Sorry, they brought someone in. If you want to play, practice better and play better. Good luck.
It probably does a good job eliminating some of the floaters, like, because, in previous time, whenever you went to a place, it was hard to transfer. You lost a year. You read the depth chart, you're number 3. You kind of know your skill set, probably not ever going to play. You just kind of end up floating a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that these constant moves are probably big motivation for the down roster guys to continue to improve and stay engaged in it.
Now, I'm gonna give you my opinion on this, and you let me know if I'm crazy or not, okay?
Okay.
But if a guy signed with an agent and went through the draft process, and before he knew he could get a 5th year of eligibility, then he finds out, hey, there is an avenue to get a 5th year of eligibility. He wants to go back to college. He repays the NFL team. He repays the agent. That seems pretty fair to me.
Yeah. All right.
Remember when we talked about college football having a common sense officer?
Yeah.
Seems like the common sense officer would approve such a sequence. Like, hey, he didn't know he could play another year. Now he knows that's possible. Okay, what did I get from signing my pro contract? Okay, I'm going to give that back, and I'm going to go back and play college football. Now, I don't love the you can enter the portal and go wherever piece of it, but it does feel somewhat fair. And one of the things you see all these people that are like, these guys are losers. Why would they do that? Like, you're leaving the NFL and going back to college football? Listen, buddy. Bunch of these guys ain't going to make $1 in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're not. So you're going, oh, what losers going back to college? Dude, they got a chance to make hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of zero. What would you do?
About to get cut and be sitting around watching football all fall. That's
yeah. Oh, this is I can't believe guys are doing this. 99% of the guys saying that would do the exact same thing these guys are doing. Hey, your options are a couple $100,000 or zero. It ain't hard, brother. It's an easy choice.
There's no day 2 draft picks that are, starting in the NFL that are saying, you know what? I'd like to go back and play another year of college football.
Now, people keep bringing up Dae'Quan Wright. Oh, he's on the Browns. Why would he do this? They don't realize he started with the Eagles. He's already been cut and claimed by the Browns.
Yeah.
He's already, the NFL team that he started with has already said, no thanks, man. We're good. People just don't get it. There's like, oh, they just view it as these guys are leaving the NFL to go back to college. What's wrong with them? How would they do this? How could they be such losers? They don't understand that all these guys are about to be out of a job. Or I think some of them understand it. They just say this dumb stuff because they think, I don't know, it makes them look cool. I don't know.
Right.
But it's just, for the majority of these guys, it's a very easy business decision.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy. And maybe you get better. And I think through this process, you get to re-enter the draft. So
great. Yeah, that is interesting. The other funny thing about it is, and it's not a surprise, but it's just something I was thinking about. Like used to, it was like, well, like the portal windows and adding guys to your roster, like you couldn't do it because of the school aspect. Like you can't play in the fall if like I don't know what all the like the hours are and the like the schooling aspect of it is and like you had to be enrolled in school by a certain day and all of that stuff like through all of this over the last couple of years there's never been any mention about the school at all, which you know we all knew previously, but you know the NCAA and the schools themselves, like 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe it was a little longer than that. It was maybe right when the portal stuff really started to kick off. It was like they kept beating us over the head with calling everyone student athletes, right? It was like all they said. There was like this concerted effort to use that term all the time. That is totally out the window. You don't hear the term student athlete at all anymore.
No, rare. Rare.
Right.
But it's like I think this is a little strange? Sure. Do I think once we start playing games that no one's really going to care? Yeah, that's what I think. It's
Always.
like, hey, Tommy Castellanos, he's going to go be Will Hammond Insurance at Texas Tech for him. Listen, if Will Hammond goes down for Texas Tech, I don't mind that they're going to have another player that is going to be really entertaining for me to watch. I'm supposed to be mad about that?
Yeah, well,
Give me the electricity of Castellanos, man. Why not?
the other interesting part of this is I NFL rosters are fluid, right? Cut day at the end of camp when you get down to your permanent roster, that ain't permanent. They don't chisel that into stone and say like these are the 53 guys you play with all year. There is constant hiring and firing throughout an entire NFL season. Like, what are the chances someone gets cut in week 6 in the NFL and joins a college football team halfway through the season?
I think if you will have played regular season games in the NFL, there's not going to be a path for you.
Well, yeah, but we also said, well, if you sign an NFL contract, there's not going to be a path for you. That was the take about 5 minutes ago.
Right. But I mean, are you going to be willing to give your game checks back to go back to college?
Good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if you're a practice squad guy.
Well, that's only one state's ruling, though.
That's
Some
true.
other state may not say that you have to give it back.
I don't know enough about that. Once again, we're not lawyers.
I don't know either.
It's just it's going to be really interesting to see how this affects the season.
How it affects the season, and like I think it's funny to look back and the things that we accept now and talk about now 5 minutes ago were like, okay, this is crazy, but that will never happen. And here we are, you know.
Oh, college football's fun, man. You could say a lot of things about college football, but no one on planet Earth can say it's not entertaining.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can watch that are not necessarily great that are still entertainment, and it kind of feels like that's where we're at right now with college football. But yeah, you definitely have to stay engaged. It's been great for the offseason.
No doubt. But once the game starts, can we just like chill out with all the court discussion, please?
Nah, maybe.
Until Dae'Quan Wright catches a game-winning touchdown for LSU, and then it's like, he shouldn't be there.
Yeah, well,
they'll protest, whoever it happens to protests the game.
Refuse to take the field.
SEC team refuses to take the field if Dae'Quan Wright plays. there's too much pride in this. That will never happen. But a
No,
protest,
We'll take the field. If we win, we won't say anything. If we lose, then we'll be really mad about it.
protest when he has 8 catches for 120 and 2 touchdowns on you.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first, experience luxury from the dealer who knows luxury best. Bob Moore Infinity. Receive 0% for 60 months on a new 2026 Infinity QX80 Autograph Edition. That's 0% for 5 years on the spacious QX80 SUV. This and over 100 more Infinity vehicles in stock today. Visit them on Kelly Avenue just south of Memorial or at bobmooreinfinity.com.
The summer heat is relentless and your vehicle's battery is taking the hit. Pop the hood and give it a check if it's time for a replacement. Now's the perfect time. Get a $25 prepaid card with the purchase of a AAA battery or a $20 prepaid card with the purchase of a Napa Legend or Napa Legend Premium AGM battery. Go see Tyler at Napa Auto Parts in Norman for the best service and parts. Offers valid in participating stores through August 31st. Restrictions may apply. See store for details.
We talk a lot about big goals on this show, championships, rivalries, building something that lasts. But some of the biggest wins happen off the field. Make your move and get in the game with a degree from OU Online. The best part? You don't have to put everything else on hold to make it happen. Keep your career moving, keep your life moving, and turn ambition into your next big win. Learn what one can do online by scanning that QR code or visiting online.ou.edu/OKBreakdown.
Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School represents a tradition of educational excellence in Oklahoma City. Bishop McGuinness offers a faith-based college prep curriculum that includes 26 AP courses, participation in OSSAA athletics, and numerous clubs and organizations for students to join and grow. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available.
As always, Ted, kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, preseason football in the NFL is kind of hard to get into unless you're watching some of the OU guys, and it's been fun. We saw Grayson Halton's been playing really well. And how about our Mason Thomas? How good does our Mason Thomas look in Kansas City right now?
I'm shocked. The guy that was really, really good at football is really, really good at football. He does look great. I think that something that stood out to me, like there's a bunch of clips that people are breaking down and stuff of him going around on Twitter, and he's playing the run really well, which we saw that improvement to his piece of his game his last 2 seasons. Like he got, especially his last year before he got hurt against Tennessee, he was playing the run at a high level. Everyone knew, hey, guy can rush the passer, but I think he's impressed a lot of people with his ability to hold up at the point of attack.
Well, I had this conversation with him last year during this season. I think it was maybe whenever he was out, pregame, had a long conversation with him, and he was talking about, he's got to get better playing the run. And I'm like, dude, I'm watching you. I'm watching the film. And I know that everyone, they basically just look at your weight and say that, he, doesn't play the run really well. And I'm like, I'm watching the film. You're playing the run fantastic. You're going to be just fine at the next level. So it's been nice to see him go out there and perform really well. And he's just a good all around, like just a person first and foremost. When you got that world in order, you can go out and sell out and get better at your craft. Like I think he's a guy that's going to continue to get better and better. It's been cool to watch.
So R. Mason is your winner of the weekend.
Yeah. And Harrison Butker. How about the 69-yard field goal?
Nice.
Very nice. Now, I saw people commenting and being like, okay, this is just ridiculous. Because, they changed the rule where they can doctor their own footballs now to kick with. And wouldn't you imagine that the NFL would make yet another rule change that makes it easier to score? Isn't that always the case? It just looks absurd. When you watch the field goal, it looks stupid. You don't even get to the 50-yard line and you score 3 points, it just looks kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
It feels like, does it feel like kicking's gotten too easy
Yeah.
in the NFL? Like the guys are too good?
Yeah.
Are they going to have to, you know how everyone complains about how far PGA Tour players can hit driver now?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a roll back the ball conversation with NFL field goal kickers?
Flight restricted footballs. That's basically what they had in the past. Now they've opened it up. There's no telling what they do with those footballs now. They're probably filled with helium. I don't know, but they're absolutely pounding it. And I mean, it was good I mean, it didn't just like edge over the crossbar. It had more left in it. I mean, it's wild. And in the NFL, those guys are the accuracy is just insane. But I don't know. It's just there comes a point where it's like, oh my God, he made a 60-yarder. And now it's like, okay, when everyone in the league could do it, it's a little bit different.
You want to roll back the kicking balls. I can see it in your eyes.
Okay, here, how about this? I don't want to roll back the kicking, but if you're going to give them a football to where they can make a field goal from pretty much anywhere on the field, then there's a certain point where it's not worth 3 anymore. It's worth 2. And then there's a certain point where it's not worth 2 anymore. It's worth 1. Like if we're going to extend your range, we got to even it out somehow.
That's way too complicated. I understand like a tiered field goal system, but it's just way too complicated, dude. That's too much thinking for me. I'm a dum-dum. When I sit on the couch on Sundays after we've recorded the pod and watch NFL football, I don't want to have to do a bunch of thinking. I just want to sit there and be like, oh, field goal worth 3, extra point worth 1, touchdown 6.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the scoring system is like ingrained in your soul. So any change to that does feel wrong. But like, again, my point is, can we just at some point stop making it easier to score? Automatic first down, 15-yard penalty, pass interference, your pinky grazed the quarterback's helmet, put helium in the damn football. Where does it stop is basically the question I'm asking. You know, hey, you can't tackle skill position players below the waist anymore. Targeting, it just never stops.
I'm sorry, Ted.
I know it.
Maybe you make a rule to where the kicker has to be set up on their side of the 50, like the plus side of the 50. You can't go to the other side. Right. That's too far.
Right. It's just like you have to get into that zone in order to kick a field goal. If you're not there,
yeah,
you got to try and kick it from 2 yards behind the center.
You can you can be on the logo, but you have to be on the plus side of the 50.
Yeah.
New rule.
Okay. I like that. You have to at least penetrate the defense's side of the field in order to score.
The holder has to be set up on the plus 49.99 yard line. That's where the ball must be kicked from.
That actually makes sense.
That'd be cool. I think everyone would be cool with that. It would be funny, though, if you're like on the 45, the holders set up like 4 yards behind it and everything's real close.
The holder's basically under center. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how we got here, but here we are. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
Texas. Now, Anthony Smith has been, let go from the football team like that. That is out there. So don't know exactly what has gone on there, but there's been some interesting things leading up to that. So that is something they got to work through. They're talented. They got players. They'll be fine in that regard. But I guess it's more of a question than it is Texas is the loser. Because I think I'm like 80% that this is just preseason propaganda that Texas has all these problems. Arch isn't looking good. He's not playing well. They've got locker room problems. A bunch of guys miss with the flu, but it really wasn't the flu. There's, some type of dissension amongst the ranks. You got parents firing off on social media. I think probably this is just stuff that happens in preseason whenever you're a team that's covered a lot and has high expectations. Your opponents take it and run with it. But I don't know. Do you think there's something to any of this?
There's an awful lot of smoke, you
Yeah.
know. I I think that they just need to start playing games. That's what I think. I think like it feels like the the amount of manufactured drama right now in Austin is just it's reached its tipping point. They just need some games to be played.
I saw this. I laughed out loud whenever I saw it. Someone said with all this negative talk about Arch Manning, I just wanted to remind everyone of this dot from Manning camp, and it's the pass that he like sells. I was just like, oh my God, man. It's
I do
never
think all the reports coming out of Texas training camp, you've got NFL scouts talking to people, you've got obviously all the people that when they're not covering OU's stuff, they're covering Texas. When those people are saying like, "Hey, Arch has been a little underwhelming," that's interesting. But I like you said, Ted, they're going to be a ridiculously talented team. Like they're going to be really good.
Hey,
I'm not overly concerned about it. Now, losing a guy that may or may not have been one of your starting inside backers, it's not great. I know that,
yeah,
but it is. Maybe it's if you're Sark, maybe it's an addition by subtraction situation as well. So I don't know enough about the dynamics of what went on there, but I'm not super worried about how good Texas is going to be. Like they're going to be a really good football team, despite all of this recent drama that has
right.
appeared.
That's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, listen, if you throw like if there's any crack, no matter if it's legit or not, we know in college football, that's what's so interesting about college as compared to the NFL. Like your fan base are active attack units. And anytime like something happens with another fan base or another football team, rather, it's just like boom, instantly you're infiltrated by like bad actors and mercenaries signing up for the battle. It's crazy. But the propaganda game goes both ways, right? When people start hammering you, all you got to do is release like in practice video of a receiver making a one-handed catch, and it's like, oh my God, they're going to win the national championship. So
You
it goes both ways.
you would think that was the reaction, but I would say the Cam Coleman catch is very similar to the John Mateer jump pass because fans just couldn't enjoy it for how cool it was. It was on the Cam Coleman one, and it was who threw that ball? Did it get tipped? What's wrong with Arch? Why is he missing so high? What's going on here? And then Mateer was like, why is he still jumping? I thought this was eliminated. Like, you can't just appreciate it for being like, oh, that's sick. Sweet.
Right.
Awesome. You just have to find an angle to where you can complain. I'm convinced people love complaining more than ever. They do. They do. And I feel like Texas fans had the same experience with that Cam Coleman clip as we did with the John Mateer jump pass clip, where there were, the majority of people went, awesome, so sick, sweet. Look at that play. That's awesome. And then
Right.
there was this faction of people that just had to find something to complain about with it.
Well, the other part of it that I think is funny, it's like nothing is sacred anymore. Like you can't even get your ass whipped in the Oklahoma drill in training camp without it being sent out by the team to the entire internet and everyone making a prognostication on what the rest of your career is going to look like or your football team's season based off of that one clip. Like nothing is sacred.
The social mediaification of the
Yeah.
college football practice, it does make it a little more stressful of an experience to go out there and practice, I'm guessing. Like you go out to a practice and there are content guys with cameras everywhere filming everything. So you better be ready to go, man.
I'm just glad, people didn't make a decision on what I was going to be based off of, a random play in 7-on-7 from my sophomore year. It's like all of a sudden any mistake is just like blown up and crazy, but that's the nature of the beast, man.
Can you imagine if there would have been clips of me getting Jackie Ship making me go from tight end to play scout team center and blocking Gerald McCoy my entire freshman year?
Who's this bum?
This kid's horrible. Why is he always on his back?
We'll be fine as long as this guy never takes a snap for us. That's only an NFL Hall of Famer.
It is interesting. That's a really good point. It's like everything out there is filmed, and it adds a certain stress to the practice field for the players.
Yep. That's all I got.
Nice. Yeah, Texas.
They'll be fun.
Week 2. We'll see how week 2 goes. And then we'll gauge the temperature in Austin after.
Oh, it's either going to be red hot or ice freaking cold based off of that one game. We know how that rolls.
Oh, it's red hot. It'll be boiling. We just don't know if it's an angry boil or an ecstatic boil. You know what I'm saying?
They're either going to win it all or never win another football game. One of the two.
It will be, we're going to win the national championship, or should we fire Sarkisian? Those are basically the two options here.
Yep.
After that week 2 game. But hey, would I be lying if I said I wasn't enjoying some of the drama coming out of Austin? Yeah, I'd be lying. It's entertaining.
Man, this is how we need this. The last 2 weeks before you get to actual football are the longest, so we need some stuff.
Listen, they're celebrating the Venables extension. Okay, we get it. He's 1-3 against Texas. Fair. Can't really say anything to you. And we're celebrating what appears to be some dysfunction going on down there. It's just, that's what rivals do.
That's right.
Appreciate you guys down in Austin in a unique way. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first, Poncho just dropped their game day collection right in time for football season, and they've got the perfect game day shirts for Oklahoma Sooners fans. They've got the boomer with the short sleeves or the schooner with the long sleeves, and these shirts look great and are super comfortable. I mean, look at how happy Sammy B looks wearing this thing. Look at that guy. That's the type of joy you experience with Poncho's lightweight and breathable material on your body. And how about this? If you buy your team's game day shirt between August 2nd through August 16th, you're covered by Poncho's Natty Back Guarantee. If your team wins the College Football National Championship, Poncho will give you a full refund on your purchase. Plus, you keep the shirt. So go to ponchooutdoors.com/OKBreakdown and enter your email to get $10 off and free shipping on your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/OKBreakdown. Head there, drop in your email, and get $10 off and free shipping. And once you try one, you'll get why. We've got a full closet of Poncho. And we are brought to you by Square, your all-in-one business partner making your day-to-day easier. From point-of-sale systems and payments to inventory and customer tools, Square brings everything together in one simple platform so you can stay organized, sell anywhere, and keep things moving. No matter what business you're running, Square gives you the flexibility to grow at your own pace and even set up an online store in just a few clicks. And right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/OKBreakdown. That's SQUARE.com/go/OKBreakdown. Visit Square to get started because the right tools make all the difference. Square keeps us up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And why wait? Right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/OKBreakdown. That's SQUARE.com/go/OKBreakdown. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code OB10 for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear around. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code OB10. Buttery soft and 10% off. All right, for my winner of the weekend, give me Alabama quarterback Keelon Russell, named the starter, beats out Austin Mack, and the most high-profile quarterback battle in the country has been solved, determined. He's talented, Ted.
Yeah. Big, good-looking athlete.
He's about as decorated as you can be coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And now, first of all, it's got to be really tough on Austin Mack. That's a guy that was the backup last year. He followed DeBoer from Washington, and to get beat out, that's, but that's competition, man. Happens. Well, they may end up needing him at some point in this season. In fact, they probably will end up needing him at some point this season. So got to stay ready. But went and watched all the plays Keelon Russell played last season, which wasn't many, and then went and watched what he did in their spring game. And, ooh, buddy, this dude is crazy talented.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little thin. Doesn't, looks like he hasn't quite filled his frame out, but really athletic and can absolutely spin it. So there's no doubt that Alabama's got a very, very talented player at the quarterback spot, but it is yet to be determined, does the lack of experience end up being something that hurts them as a football team, hurts that offense? We'll see, because you think about what they had at the quarterback position a year ago with Ty Simpson, just out there in full control of the offense, orchestrating everything. I mean, was out there playing the position like a pro.
Mm-hmm.
You go from that to a guy that, let's be real, has never played a meaningful snap. Super talented, but super inexperienced. It's just an interesting situation for the Crimson Tide.
Well, first of all, enjoy this while it lasts, because used to, you would go into training camp or go into a season and there's quarterback battles at a lot of places, right? That was pretty much a constant. Not every team had one every year, obviously, but it was common. Like these days, you don't get a whole lot of like true quarterback contest. It's like you bring in the transfer portal guy to be the starter. The other guy that would have battled leaves and goes and starts somewhere else. So it is kind of fun to watch a quarterback battle. And there were several of them out there this year, which was cool. DeBoer's system is, if you've got the guy, that offense can get going. We saw at Washington with Penix. You saw really at times with Ty Simpson and what he did a year ago. But I guess my question is, did he win the job, or did Austin Mack lose it? I guess I'm saying is, just because you won the quarterback battle doesn't mean this is he's an extraordinary talent that is going to take us to the next level. I guess it really doesn't tell me what I need to know about his quality. I'll have to see it, obviously, but I think Alabama previously, before DeBoer, was never in a situation to where a lot of other schools have always been, your quarterback is going to tell the story of your football team. You're either going to be really good because of your quarterback, or you're going to struggle if you don't have that guy. Alabama fans don't have a lot of history of that, because the entire roster was so good. And they had good quarterbacks, but you could always make the argument that they were going to be really good no matter who was taking the snaps. And they're not at that point right now. If Keelon Russell is a guy that has to go out and have some on-the-job training, and, it takes a while before he really finds his stride, it could be tough going for Alabama. And I honestly, I don't know how he's operating that offense, but they don't have the margin for error they used to.
It'd be awfully helpful if they could run the ball. I think the defense is going to be good.
Yeah.
So you think about a quarterback's two best friends: really good defense, really efficient run game. We know they're going to have talented wide receivers. It'd also be awfully helpful if Ryan Coleman Williams can catch the ball. But there's I mean, it's Alabama, man. You're the starting quarterback at Alabama. There's going to be very high expectations for this guy, and rightfully so. Like he was a 5-star plus, like all everything recruit. So we'll see what it ends up looking like. But they get ECU in the opener, and then Keelon Russell better be ready to roll. They got Kentucky and then Florida State. I know that's not, those aren't two teams that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, he's got to go play a couple top 10 teams. But it's like Kentucky and Florida State, they don't have a bunch of bums.
No, Kentucky's one of my teams this year that I'm looking at, and I'm like, man, like for us, it's after the Texas game, and like it's in a bad spot. I think Will Stein's going to do some good stuff there. So to your point, like that's not a gimme game.
And I think that one of the most interesting pieces of Keelon Russell being named a starter is like what he's going to bring with his legs. The guy is athletic. He can run. And Bud Elliott pointed out something that I thought was really interesting about DeBoer's history. He said, if you look at it, when he's been the offense coordinator or head coach, his quarterback has run for over 1,000 yards or been the leading rusher like more than half the time. So does the QB run element become a bigger part of what they want to do? That'll be interesting to monitor as well, because the guy can run now. Like I mentioned earlier, not the thickest guy, so he's got to pick and choose his spots when he runs the ball. He's got to be smart, like get down in some of those situations. But it'll be interesting to see if QB run game becomes a bigger part of Alabama. When's the last time Bama had a quarterback where you're like, Hurts?
Yeah.
I mean, Tua was a mobile guy, but you didn't go,
Yeah, that wasn't his game. Yeah, Hurts. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
It's been a while.
Frankly, it would probably be good for him if that was the case and the quarterback run does become a bigger chunk of what they do, because the mindset previously the last couple of years is not like it hasn't been a huge commitment to the running game. And even if it's the quarterback that's carrying the ball for you a bunch, like you got to have it. It's going to make life way easier on your team. And if you can run the ball with the quarterback, typically you can run it with the running backs, and there is some carryover. So I'm with you. That is interesting.
My loser of the weekend. And I hated seeing this, man, but I got to go with the Missouri Tigers. Eli Drinkwitz comes out and says that Ahmad Hardy won't be available for their opener. And not only is he not available for the opener, guy hasn't even practiced yet.
Mm-hmm.
So now it does sound like he's progressing well, like with the strength and conditioning component of things after getting shot in the leg back in May. But it's a bummer, Ted. I want to see the best college football players play college football. This guy was ridiculously good for Mizzou a season ago. And, after we got the news at SEC Media Days that he was medically cleared, maybe I shouldn't have assumed this, but I just assumed he was going to be good to go and we're going to get to watch him play as the season started. And that's just not the case. I hate it for him. I hate it for Missouri. I hate it for college football. I hope he can get right and get back on the field. I saw that Thamel reported that, they're targeting mid-September for a return. Guy hasn't even practiced and he's going to be back in mid-September.
That's what I was thinking.
You know what I mean? Like that, but we'll see. But one of the best running backs in college football isn't going to be out there in week one. And that stinks, dude.
Right. Yeah, I heard Eli Drinkwitz, press conference where he was talking about it. I do have a question, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he phrased something oddly whenever he was talking about him, getting his body ready. He said that, he's really worked well with our training staff and his people. Did you hear? He mentioned that he's they've been working with his people and the training staff. And I was like, that's interesting. Does that I wonder if there is a thought by him that maybe he shouldn't play this year.
I hadn't really thought of that. But you think about how that position is viewed, how it's valued now in the NFL. Yeah. Are you saying maybe his leg's fine and he's like, I don't want to put a ton of tread on my tires, especially in these meaningless games early in the season for us?
I'm not saying I don't
Is
think
Conspiracy Ted here?
no,
It sounds like Conspiracy Ted's walking through the door.
I don't think it's fine, but I think it is maybe a legitimate conversation as to whether like you haven't even practiced yet. Whenever you do, like, is it really best for your future to go out there after something this like apparently serious has happened? You're the leading rusher in the SEC a year ago. Like, you don't want to put yourself in harm's way by getting out there before you need to, and maybe even exposing yourself at all this season. Or I don't know. It's just something that the way he said it kind of got my gears spinning a little bit. I don't know. It was just, I hadn't thought of it until I heard the way that he kind of phrased that oddly.
Yeah, and I think it's going to become more and more normal for these college football players, especially like the elite guys, to have a team.
Yeah.
Like not only their representatives, but like trainers, like that type of stuff, which you see in the NFL. But yeah, I think that, I mean, we can just throw this extreme out there. If Ahmad Hardy doesn't play this year, but then goes to the combine and crushes the testing, is that going to affect his draft status like at all? They'll look back not. Like as long as he looks like the same guy going through those drills, going through the combine, going through pro day, maybe he goes and plays at the Senior Bowl or something like that.
Right.
Teams may actually like him not playing another season. That may actually increase his value.
That's kind of what like I said, just whenever he said the phrase, and if you go back and listen to it, it's just kind of weird how he fits in his people, and just got my gears turning. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I hope he gets back and is able to go, because excellent football player.
Jamal Roberts, that dude was their backup last year, and when we watched that tape, we were like, "Uh-oh,
yeah,
backup's
they're
legit
be able
too."
to run the football. Hardy is a really good player, but a lot of it is just their scheme and their system and how good they are at executing it.
And we'll see. Austin Simmons is their quarterback. His mobility, like, what does that add to their run game?
Boy, he physically looks great.
Yes. But can I tell you the one thing that I think is guaranteed with Ahmad Hardy?
Sure.
He's going to be fresh as a daisy when we go to Columbia on November 28th.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Welcome back.
He's going to decide, I'm playing one game this season, and it's against Oklahoma.
Just give the scouts a taste of what's coming. Yeah, that's funny.
But in all seriousness, would love to just see the guy play college football this year. He's one of the best players in the country at his position. I like watching the best players in the country at their position play football. So
he's good. He's fun.
Birthday shout-outs. Welcome to the world, Callie Ruth Nance.
Happy 16th birthday to Emmett Derry.
Happy upcoming 21st birthday to Diego.
Happy upcoming 31st birthday to Chris Scoto.
And congrats on becoming a dad, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Scotto or Scoto? Two T's.
Scoto?
Scotto. Scotto?
Yeah.
I think our man Chris is having to miss a game to become a dad. There's no better reason. Congrats. Congrats, Chris.
Congratulations.
Happy 53rd birthday to Commander Craig Tackmeyer.
Congrats on getting married to Mallory and Taylor Dignan.
Dignan. Dignan's what I would have gone with.
Dignan. Mallory and Taylor Dignan.
Denon.
Dignon.
Dignon. Fancy it up. On that note, episode 660 in the books. I have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com, for all of our stuff in one spot. We hope you have a great start to your week. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.